Hi everyone, this is Sanya Bari for our first Facebook Live Sanya Talks, and this is a venue for you guys to come up and ask me any questions live. One of the reasons I'm starting this series is because I realize that not everyone can come for therapy, not everyone can even afford therapy, whether it's financially or time-wise. But from my frustration of realizing how many misunderstandings there are about relationships and how really people with such good intentions at heart suffer because of these unnecessary myths that we have taken to, and I would love to dispel some of these beliefs and address some of these things. So I will choose a topic every week. They will always be inspired or from the therapy that I provide in my practice, and the questions that keep coming up. Those are the ones that I will address. So this week I have the question that why do relationships break up? It's a very important question. That's something we definitely don't want to happen. And the what I've done is that I know that a lot of people who were requesting this Facebook Live couldn't really be here at this time, which is convenient for me. I'm sorry, but so I've taken a lot of questions already that I have right here that I'm going to keep answering as time goes on. And relationships will not break. Most typically, it'll be very unusual, but most typically relationships will not break because of one particular thing. Even if that one particular thing is huge, like maybe even, like I would dare say, like infidelity, like even that, relationships don't really break because there's a big, something that happens, you have to work through it. But relationships will break when little things happen for a long period of time and they don't get addressed. That's when relationships break. And it could be anything. It could be something small. And sometimes you'll find people will, judge others for leaving a relationship or say that, oh my God, like this was such a good girl or it's such a great guy and I can't believe she left this. And it's because they just, like, if they've tried and just they haven't seen a change happen. And one of the reasons I wanted to start here is because I certainly don't want you to be in that place. So it's very, very, very important to listen to your partner when they're telling you, this bothers me, this really hurts me. And you especially see, but the problem with us is that we can be amazing communicators. I have one of the clients that I have had at one point owned a communication agency, and they were husband and wife. So it's not that, we're dumb and we don't know how to talk or listen. It's just that when it comes to our relationships, we become so emotional. We become like, walls. So we want to make sure that if our partner is saying something, just chill out, just relax, and just tune in and listen to what they're saying. Most especially, if what they're saying is a repetition, if they keep repeating the same thing, you've got to pay heed. You've got to pay attention. Even if when at first you're thinking, oh my God, this is just crazy, he's just crazy or she's just crazy, and no, I'm fine. That's okay, but you still have to listen and pay attention and address it in whatever way that you can. So again, it comes to that thing. Why am I saying, and you'll say, oh, the reason is communication. Well, no, not really, because yes, it is communication, not 100%. The thing is to take a stance on your relationship as something that's valuable, that's important, that needs your attention, that needs you to step up and keep up and manage and refurbish and care about. Not just, it's just something on the side, and if we were really good, we would automatically figure out because that's how it happens in the movies or whatever, or on Facebook, everybody's happy. None of those things are real. If you really care about your relationship, if you are somebody who's successful in your relationships, then you're paying heed there. Then you are showing up. You're paying attention. So number one thing is to change your attitude from just being lax about it to paying attention to to the problems that your partner keeps saying. Now, when I say listen, it is one of the greatest skills that I can talk about. And what I want to talk about, yes, I'll give you skills and tools to do, but I also want to go deeper and talk about bigger things like concepts, like completely changing your mindset and your concept about something. So I would love for you to, when you are speaking to your partner, I want you to understand that this person that's in front of you, whatever issue and situation they're coming with, they are completely capable of solving that on their own. Everybody that's given a problem already has all the resources inside them to solve that problem. You need to come from that premise. And why do I say that that's an important premise to come from? Because one of the reasons people can't hear another person out is because they suddenly start thinking, oh my God, they're saying a problem to me. And you know what this means? This means that I'm going to have to take over. So I better not even hear it and absorb it. I just and what happens when you have that kind of a psychology or thought process running in your background, you're going to automatically, as the person is spewing out or taking out their words or communicating to you, right away, you're going to start putting your shield up. No, like I'm not going to accept anything that you're saying. I'm not going to listen to you. And you're not being obnoxious. What you're doing is you're protecting yourself. But what I'm saying to you is there's no need to protect yourself. You're already protected. You're safe. Nobody is asking you, even if they are physically asking you, you're going to have to take care of it. Relax. Even if you are going to have, there's nothing that can happen unless you allow that communication to take place. So come from that premise and listen to your partner, listen to what they're saying. One of the biggest, I usually, when couples are having a really big problem with communication, I set up literally a protocol for them. So that like a successful couple, with every conflict that they have, they go up and higher, increasing themselves in understanding and connection and clarity and negotiating relationships, as opposed to a couple that's not being successful in their relationship, and with every single conflict they're going to go down. So we always want to be that person that is using the conflict to move higher, to not even say neutral, but to move higher. So is the biggest thing that I can give you, if I can't sit here and do the whole protocol with you as I do in my private practice, is that the cheat sheet is that at the moment when your partner is telling you what happened, they're explaining a situation to you. Right at that moment, human nature is that you're going to start playing your movie. You were there too. Simultaneously as they're telling their side, you have a very valid side that's coming up. So automatically, you're going to start, they're speaking right now, they're talking, and you're not even listening, because right now it's playing for you in your head is what you were doing and what you were thinking and how wrong this person is, and maybe even doing some rebuttals in your head. And so my greatest encouragement to you would be that at that moment, you get out of the video that's playing for you. Even if they start talking and you sense that your video is playing, you tell them, just give me a second, and then you recalibrate yourself, and then you say, okay, now start again. You get out of the video that's playing with you and you get into their video. What is happening for them? Just one of the biggest reasons, again, people can't do that is because they're thinking, oh my God, if I right now, this person's totally blaming me right now, and I obviously there's nothing wrong with me, and they're at fault. And maybe that's even true. But if suppose I get out of my perspective and I go into their perspective, oh my God, I'm just going to die. I'm going to disappear. I will be invalidated. I will lose some way. Well, you're going to lose if you're not listening. So you got to chill out about that. Find that calm inside you, and understand that it's an unreasonable thing that you're saying, that just because you're going to look at their perspective, you're not going to lose yours. Hold on to it. Maybe if you lose yours, maybe you shouldn't have, maybe it's not such a great perspective. Anyway, so you're not going to lose it, and just listen to them. Just by doing that, what I'm telling you is that your humanity is going to kick in, and you're going to know what to do if you're just listening. Many times when an argument comes, there is the need in the couple to say, who gets to put the flag on this? Who gets to say, I'm the winner? Sometimes you can understand that I get your perspective and I don't agree, and I understand that you don't agree either. So, and that's okay. That's totally fine. Now, so that's the thing about listening. This little skill that I'm giving you about thinking of it in terms of video. But the other thing that I'm going to tell you is called heart-centered listening, which is a concept that comes from Ron and Mary Hulnick. And what they talk about is opening your heart and just being able to take in at that moment when your partner is speaking to you, even if they're blaming you for everything, to open your heart and to just listen to what they're saying. You say, why should I open my heart? And one of the things that'll happen is that, your insecurity might come up. You're like, oh my God, why will I open my heart to somebody who's being so mean to me? Because understand that a lot of the part about being successful in a relationship has to do with being able to regulate yourself. And that's something you're going to have to do anyway. That is not anybody else's task. So just to be calm and understand that if you open your heart and you just listen at that moment, nobody's going to invalidate you. Just chill out about that and just listen. Just give it a chance and just say, let's see what happens if I just hear this person out. I mean, this is a person who, if not now and not in the second, was important to me. Me just hear him out and then understand that, your compassion will come in. At that moment, if you see that they're blaming you and that's coming up for you, just don't block yourself. Don't, just stay open. That's my biggest thing. And then, so that's happening. And now they're saying something. Now, what are you going to do with that content? Now, the other direction or mind shift that I'm giving you, which is different from a tool, is that I want you to understand that you are not here to solve anybody's problem. Everybody has the ability to solve their own problem. What you're here to do is to listen, to provide support, to provide love, to provide understanding. So once again, calm down. Even if the person is saying this is your task, you have to do this, doesn't mean that suddenly you have to wear that pin and you're like, yeah, it's my task or whatever. So just listen to them. And my request even is that and this year right now, as I'm speaking about things, I'm setting it up as if it's a conflict. But many times one of the biggest opportunities to connect with somebody that you love is an opportunity when they're telling you something about their day or something that hurt them, or even if it's you who hurt them, or something that is a problem for them. And at that moment, the worst thing that we can do, that is a gift. That's a gift that's given to you in your relationship, to use to become stronger and to build a stronger connection. One of the worst things you can do at that moment is to give that person advice. That is the word, like you will just destroy it. Now, as Americans, we are trained to solve problems. We're all problem solvers. Now, if you're a man listening to this, men are conditioned even more to be problem solvers, even though I really can't say that because a lot of us women are very, very big problem solvers. So we'll identify as that. But if you feel that what your partner is telling you, you have this amazing bombastic idea that's going to solve world hunger, and you've got to you're like, oh my God, you're like jumping in your seat. You're like, oh, I've got the idea. Only then you ask, listen, are you venting right now? Or would you like my help in solving this? You could reframe this language in any way that you feel is cool. But to say something to that extent, ask permission. It's one of the most honoring things that you can do to a person, to be there for them when they're telling you something that's very real for them. One of the reasons we want to be in relationships, one of the biggest reasons, especially if people are, emotionally and financially other ways capable and able to take care of themselves. One of the biggest reasons why people will still get into relationships is because they want one person to be a witness to their life. And so that is an important moment that you miss. So please, even with your children, even with anybody, don't give advice when people are venting to you. They're sharing their very, very core, like their vulnerability with you. That's a moment to grab for connection and to increase yourself in that. It's a freebie. So that's my direction, to ask before you give advice, and to just listen mostly, and then and to not solve problems. And then my last thing would be perception checking. This would be my last request in trying to prevent that place where why do relationships break? We don't want the relationship to break. Is that after you've heard everything, after you've heard, if I'm telling you to listen, obviously one of the guidances is not to interrupt and to just be in the listening mode. So that person may go on for a while, like they may go on for 2-3 minutes, maybe more for some people. But you're just attending, you're looking at them, you're connected, your eyes are connected to their eyes, and you're just like, you're there in every single way that you can be. But when they're finished, they may have said so much that before you try to respond, that as human beings, we can't respond to such a big thing. So right there, if you're the person who's speaking and who's venting, here's one quick advice for you. Make it short increments so that the person you're saying this to does have a chance to respond to it in little ways. Some people will actually make it long because they are venting, number one, or they don't want the other person to be able to respond in an effective way. It's like a subconscious thing. Having said that, if your person has spoken for a while, there's still going to be, just as a matter of organizing the way we organize our brain, there's going to be 1 or 2 things that'll stick in your head, and you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to talk about this, this, and this. Like, it's not so planned. It's just the way it is that's stuck in your head. So whatever it is, get unfogged, think about it. All right, this is what I heard. This is what I'm going to respond to. So before you respond, before you put your foot in your mouth, my request would be, or my greatest, encouragement would be to do what we call perception checking. And in that moment, you just ask them that, look, I just want to make sure that I heard you right. I cannot tell you how important that is, that a person, who's in pain hears this from their partner who's listening, that not only did you give them this open attendance, this heart-centered thing, this not interruption, not like rolling eyes. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, no, when my partner is speaking and they're telling me things, I promise you I don't say a word. Oh yeah? Okay, well, the visual, the micro expressions are off the charts. They're like rolling eyes, they're like moving, they're like, they're like, I see this all the time. So you have to understand that if your heart is open, if you're there, if you're in that movie, the micro expressions on your face are going to match their story of how they're feeling. A revelation that, oh my God, is this how she felt? Is this how he felt when I said this? Because even though I kind of believe in what I said, but I really didn't mean to hurt them like that. That's horrible. That's what they should be seeing, a congruence in what you're hearing. But if they're telling their story and your micro expressions are like, oh yeah, like here we go again, like, oh, how long will this take? These kinds of things. It's like saying a lot. It's like screaming, like I don't care and I'm not even listening to you kind of thing. Or I think this is boring or something like that. So before you start to address whatever it is that you are going to address, because now it's your turn to speak, my request would be, if you can do what we call perception checking and repeat what you think you're responding to. So respond to that, and and that way you'll know that that whatever you're answering is correct. That way you are not likely to put your foot in your mouth. I'm warning you right now, if the person is really upset with you, every time you do perception checking, they're gonna say, that's not it. See, you never listened to me. And you were actually listening. Don't get offended. Just chill out about things, like just relax. That person is going through something. Hold space for them, and just allow them to, that's okay. And then you repeat again, and then you repeat again. And if you find them to be this amount of argumentative, you will understand that this is directly proportional to how hurt they are. And at that moment, I'm requesting some compassion from you. So we went over, how we have to pay such close attention to, to what people are saying. A lot of people will say, that doesn't really sound like, the reason for breaking up, what did I say? It's little things that don't change over a period of time. And so but it is, sometimes what they're saying is that you don't do enough things with me. Sometimes they say, I miss you. Sometimes I feel like you're not here. Whatever they're saying, I don't want you looking at these men, or I don't want you going out with these women. Whatever it is, you gotta pay attention, you gotta be there. And, and sometimes even when your partner is being unreasonable, giving the other person this amount of love and connection and this venue to feel so accepted, is just something that is just such a gift that you can give someone to be able to listen and understand them. So I'm not really sure how much time I have left. Let's see. Oops, I'm really over time. So let me finish this right now. And, I have some questions here that I wasn't able to answer. Hopefully I'll time it better next time and make a shorter presentation. And thank you for being here. And I enjoyed doing this. And I'll see you next week at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care and goodbye.